shit, forgot about that. There we go. Not that it's majorly important. I'm just up in the top corner there. But I thought it'd be fun. Anyway, oh. Let's do that. There we go. So we're playing Suzerain. I'll just check that we are playing Suzerain. Also, I want to check the levels as well, because I think this plays, like, I get the game audio a lot louder in my headset than you do on the stream. Which is unfortunate. Which is, actually, if I don't know. I'm trying to think to myself, and that's never a good plan. Thinking. They don't pay you to think. They don't pay me. I'm trying to think to myself, and that's never a good plan. Thinking. They don't pay you to think. They don't pay me. It's a lot louder in here than it is on there. I said. You have to deal. Enter the game name. Tim. Government, Presidential Republic, population 40 million, economy in recession, military major regional power, starting date 1954. And I need to mute myself. I'm looking forward to the DLC. Let's start the old game. So yeah, I've played this once before, quite a while ago, but apparently a new update's just dropped for it. And it's just a fun game, you know, pretty chill. The struggle I'm having of late is playing games for leisure. So anytime I think, oh, you know, I'll play this, this could be fun, I think, well, I may as well stream it or record it. That way, you know, I'm doing the fun thing, and it's, you know, memorialised. And it's just like, a bit wank that I can't just play a game and enjoy it anymore. But same with this, actually. I was thinking, oh, I'll just play a bit of this last night, it'll be chill, and I thought, no, let's save it for a stream/video. You're opening your eyes to the world. You came from a wealthy family in the city of Lockhaven, a middle-income family in the city of an impoverished family in the city of Dare. So this is all determines who we are as a person. Fuck it, we'll be the wealthy elite. I never be the wealthy elite. Anton, successful businessman, just grew up with family. Life is easy at first, you have the best education money can afford. Family changed due to the absence of your father, affected his mother, and you negatively. The years pass. It's class at school, the bell started to ring unexpectedly. You heard a loud commotion outside. To figure out what was going on, the principal announced the historic revolution. The kingdom was no more, the Republic of Swordland was born. I was somewhat worried. Graduating, you passed the university exam with high marks. You had the opportunity to choose between several studies. You chose law, economics, or history. We go law. Law's Ponzi upper class thing. It's not, anyone can do it. During the first year, you attended a lecture with D.V. Whiskey. He was a well-known diplomat from the Foreign Ministry and son of the President. Observing the whole in silence, he explained how the Supreme Court is obstructing justice in Swordland, that laws should be applied fairly, and that even the members of the Supreme Court are subject to the same laws. Question what you were being taught. Soldiers entered the campus in the evening ahead of the first election. Many were in shock as uniformed men created a security cordon and started arresting the teachers. Students started gathering in protest. Along with your best friend, Peter, you decided to protest? Avoid any confrontation. Like, you know, we're rich, or rich background, there's upheaval, we don't want to be directly involved in it, we want to stay in the shadows and sort of see how it plays out to be used to our advantage. Loud announced to echo through the campus. General Din declared martial law in order to restore the administration. Please stand back and disperse to your rooms. Towards the dormitory, avoiding a scene. I did exactly as they said. As you entered the room, screaming coming from the outside. Try to bury yourself under the sheets. Try to go out and see. No, we're upper class. I feel like upper class would be like terrified. Just hide. Don't want to go near the screaming. It was a gloomy year. Teachers replaced by those that promoted conformist to the state, turned blind eye to the things that were happening. You didn't want to stay idle and decided to join them. Join human rights group, a student council, a political debate group. I joined a student council, which is a student involvement in the campus along with partaking in the budget. There we go. See, that's not anti-establishment. That's just I'm a part of the council. Let's do council stuff. Management, budget management, and leadership skills. Meetings. Peter Vecton introduced you to classmates of his moniker. You were immediately attracted to her intelligence, her beauty, her diligence. I mean, neither of these. These are all like love is love at the end of the day. Attraction is attraction. There's no one that screams upper class to me, but we'll go intelligence. To you that she was a volunteer for the Swedish League of Women, an organisation keeping for women's rights. You told that I supported, weren't particularly interested in women's rights, but asked her to dine at dinner nonetheless. How is that going to lead to a dinner date? It's like, oh, I'm big on women's rights. Yeah, I don't care about them. Do you want to come to dinner? I mean, fair play for trying, lad. Would the upper classes support women's rights? Yeah, because I come from a business background, and I think business-wise, you would think it doesn't really matter male or female. What matters is money. So I support her cause. So we're not socialist, we're not nationalist, so we stay away. They relayed that the communist general record surrounded Linda and his troops, demanding their surrender. And their fusing heavy fighter broke out across the street. You just couldn't believe it. The army was fighting amongst themselves. Swordland plunged into chaos. It was a full-blown civil war. The horrors made you isolate yourself for a while. Monica helped you cope, and love grew between the two of you. A difficult time for love. Charismatic Colonel Tarquin Sol orchestrated a sudden attack on the capital where the Linderist and Rakerist forces were battling each other. Defeated both ending the war. The new constitution was written, and the military government began efforts to restore stability. Many people saw the colonel as their saviour. He formed the United Swordland Party and ran as a presidential candidate in the first ever single-party elections. I feel like I would vote for him. Like, I know there's only one person to vote for, but again, we're business, we're upper class, we don't like instability. He's the man that got rid of all the civil war and brought stability, therefore we support him. I really need to check that the sound's okay. USP won the election by a large majority. The military government announced a 4-year deal, restoration period, civilian government. Yeah, it's fine. After graduation, you kept seeing Monica. You were both interested in marrying and started a family. However, a letter arrived from the military calling you to fulfill your compulsory service. That's awkward. Can I not buy my way out? Like all the rich kids. Devastating civil war broke out in the neighbouring country Whalen. It quickly turned into a proxy war between regional and world powers. The distinguished mayor, Josef Lanzarin, ordered you to lead your squad on a border patrol mission. Very cold winter night. Again, marching out on the outpost. Several hours marching through the snowy hills, distant noises were heard, so it was too low to confirm the source. So the Lurker crawled forward in formation and found a spot to observe. If the producer made it beyond the board fence, you escorted them back. Just were in despair when they realised that you were taking them back to the border. Screens and process ensures they were both restrained. Then to the border guards, several months of military service, you just sending you back to civilian life. You and Marco decided to share your lives together after receiving the blessing of our parents. Suzerain was held Holstoward. Same year, you were offered a high-paying job within the governing United Southern Party. But to start your career on a good foot, so you accepted it. Working for the ruling party with these path to power, financial compensation was too great to pass up. It was best opportunity to change finances. We're rich kids. And the legal assistant to one of the more experienced members of Assembly, long and hard, through hundreds of pages of legal documents late into the night, I was climbing the ladder. Talking Sol gave amnesty to the remaining factions of the Civil War and chose de-escalation and appeasement. The institutions and symbols of former kingdom were slowly replaced. His government launched several new initiatives, such as citizen-funded build programs to revitalise the economy, social labour initiative to help rebuild and improve society, and a large dam project to solve the energy crisis. First multi-party elections in history of Swordland were held. President Tarquin Sol was elected once more. The ongoing legal battle between the Justice Ministers and Supreme Court put you under a lot of stress, but your significant contribution to the legal case triggered an invitation to meet President Tarquin Sol himself, who offered you a key position. You were to become the youngest member of the Assembly. I accepted right away. As the youngest MP, it was difficult to connect with the influential inner circle. You needed allies, so you brought on Peter Vector as your right-hand man, my best mate. Typical of the upper classes, that. The birth of your son, Frank, proved a brief moment of joy and relief. You sacrificed work to spend time with family, sacrificed family to improve your position and money. Just like what your father once did, you prioritised work over family along with Peter Vector, and you accomplished great things for your party. At home, Monica and Frank felt your absence. Meanwhile, President Sol increased his authority over the years. His growing ego started to cause strife within USP. So he became a dictator. Bez secured a majority in the elections against the opposition leader. The next year, the people grew increasingly discontent with corruption and the worsening quality of life. Unity of Soulland Congress became louder. Sugar stretched brew. You joined the internal opposition. Now, we watched from the sidelines. Because, yeah, again, we prioritise money. We can see that, Sol's time is done. Things are starting to change. But he's still got a lot of power, and we don't want to piss him off. So we don't pick either side and just sit back and stay out of the way. Party leadership was Elwyn Alfonso. He was challenging, reformist, and talented business magnate with a growing follower base within the party. Desperate efforts to secure votes before the Congress, President Sol was meeting party members one by one. He approached me. President offered you the position of Minister of Justice and Law in the next government if you backed him in your... Yep. Congressman relationship impressive. The banners of the United States Party were decorated at every possible spot. Thousands of influential political figures, lobbyists, and benefactors gathered for this turning point. The voting for the party leadership began. Tarquin Sol. Oh dear. Unfortunately, Tarquin Sol lost the leadership vote to Edwin Alfonso by a small margin. During the Congress, Sol announced he would retire from politics at the end of his term and appointed Alfonso as vice president. The system he had established was to stay much longer. His achievements would be forgotten. I didn't really care about. I'm a little troubled because I backed him. A month later, your daughter was born. Named her Dina. She motivated you during a tumultuous period in this party. As VP and leader of the USP, Edward Alfonso began dismantling the old organisation and structures established by the USP, such as the State Education Court and the Swedish State Corporation Bills. General elections were approaching. The United Southerland Party was under new leadership. You joined the party effort and campaigned for him. So we still want money, we still want power and influence. During the general elections, the main opposition leader was embroiled in sex scandal with his secretary, replaced by the more popular figure, Franz Richter. But the damage had been done. The new economic policies and the extensive privatisation programme proposed by Ewald Alfonso secured an election victory for the United Southerland Party. Over the following years, you did your best in order to make Scotland a better place. Tried all that was necessary to climb up the ladder. Climb the ladder all the way, boys. That's what we're about. The presidency of Alfonso saw many bold reforms in government and law and advancement in liberal democratic values. He valued your support throughout. However, due to infighting and disorganisation, continental economic tensions, fast-track privatisation, it was followed by a severe economic recession. The other parties announced their bids for the 1953 election, but the unfair election system hampered opposition efforts to campaign. You thought So try and read. It's the whole point of the game. Thought that your party could not survive another crisis. We're worried about the economic recession. Worried that your reputation would be tarnished along with Alfonso. I am worried. You know, we're upper class. We've been through a lot. You know, we backed Sol and he fell apart. We've got back on board with this bloke, and now it's all going to shit again. I mean, with Peter's help, your presence in the USP grew. The two of you worked long nights together. He flipped opponents to your side. You became the face of a new wing of the party, step by step, adequate planning. Your wing took over the leadership as president. Alfonso lost control of the country. The moment to make a move had come. You just, I know it's not as bad. Like, it's not as loud for you as it is for me, but I've got to be able to concentrate. The moment to make a move had come. You blamed Alfonso for the crisis on television, bribed and extorted Alfonso's inner circle, advised Alfonso to step down. Oh, bribed and extorted all the way. Most of the inner circle abandoned him, even the Minister of Development, Gus manager. President Alfonso started to reshuffle his cabinet, but it was too late. Alfonso was removed from power by a no-confidence vote. The party eventually voted you in because of your influence. Following this, you announced that you would be running for president in the general election with Peter as your running mate. It was your turn. After visiting every city and town during the campaign, you made a speech on state television. You promised to enact democratic reforms, preserve national values. What would I do? Like, we're not, you know, we're not democratic per se. We like money. But the problem has been national values. People weren't keen about it. So in order to strengthen our position, you know, money, wealth, enact democratic reforms. Tired of empty promises, we need fundamental change in our institutions and government. Establishment democracy awaits us, brothers and sisters, a new constitution and a new age is upon us. The broadcast ends. On today, millions went out to cast their votes. It's time to face the truth. Chapter 1. President Reign. I am president. They can't stop me. Ooh, you can customize. Make it like me. Oh, that. Oh, get a pipe! I would like the glasses and the pipe, please, but... Oh yes, I'm sure about my choices. As Anton Reign, you have made consequential promises to the people of Swordsland to gain their votes in the 1953 election campaign. Consider these commitments carefully. Economic direction. After recent market reforms and recessions, the country finds itself stuck between two different systems with indecision and turbulence. I need to slow down when I'm reading a bit, I think. Causing the population to demand a direction. Promote planned economy, promote market economy. I wish I knew enough about economics to know the difference. Market. Diplomatic leaning. The global rivalries between capitalist Arcadia in the west, the monarchy of Rumburg in the north, and the communists in the east is intertwined. Swordland has the potential to align with others or lean towards neutrality. So we're going to go west for the capitalists, because we like that money. Immigration policy. In the last 5 years, Bloodish, Wizzick, and Agnolian immigrants flocked to Swordland due to relaxed immigration laws enacted by former President Alfonso. Tensions are causing requests for a political solution. Okay. Toughen immigration then. We'll slow it down for now. Because though relaxed immigration isn't a problem in and of itself, we do sort of need to level out. The Reign, you have made consequential promises. Correct. Once praised public education system of the nation has suffered significant setbacks in the last decade. Schools, student-teacher radio, low teacher salary, lack of classroom equipment in certain parts of the country cause massive divergence to public education. Defence, the nation's most funded branch until Alfonso government reduced defence budget significantly. Threats looming in Nuremberg and growing presence of superpowers in the region, critical defence, masses. Yeah, so education, health, or law and enforcement. Between different youth groups, socioeconomic pressures between multiple classes. Society is increasing the issues of law and enforcement systems. Police need help keeping up with increased crime rates. Simultaneously, judges and courts deal with an enormous growing backlog of legal cases. Law and enforcement. I think that's what a rich kid would do. We want to make sure order is restored because we don't want to get slapped about. 2 weeks have passed since we won the election, and now is about to be sworn in as the 4th president of Swordland. Thousands were watching the inauguration ceremony and cheering my name, Anton Rain. The die was cast. The die was cast, and there my story began. In the distance of the Marine Palace stood on top of the famous Hill of Pride. I had no way of knowing what future awaited me there. I looked at my family, my son and daughter, Frank and Deanna, when it's to Monica, my wife. Her eyes were glimmering with pride. Then I turned towards the key people who made it all possible. Of course, each individual was promised an important position in my government. So my previous rival and former president, Edwin Alfonso, gave me a slight nod. Torquid Sol was also invited, but as expected, he didn't leave his island retreat. As my thoughts slowly faded away, the reality of the situation dawned on me. Also Hawker, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, was waiting for me. The time for the oath has come. I am ready. Please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear. I do solemnly swear that I will respectfully execute the office of the President of Swordland, and to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend. And to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the people and the Constitution of the Republic of Swordland. You may now deliver your inauguration speech, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Hawker. I won't be doing voices for everyone. Dear citizens of Swordland, the current dire situation, the idea of unity. We are enduring economic hardship like never before, and today our nation is falling apart. Our people, we suffer in this dire situation. We still have insufficient infrastructure, houses without electricity, without water. We have crime in our streets, unemployment within the youth, and we still have injustice in the government that plagues us. I promise you we will stop the recession and eliminate poverty. The future awaits us. Time to turn our faces to the west. Oh, go on then. The future awaits us. It is time to turn our faces to the west. It's time for a united and powerful Swordland once again. Hundreds of thousands cheered, they were shouting my name in unison. I felt responsibility, the power, the burden, all at the same time. Wave. I took a long look at the people of Swordland to burn this moment into my memory. One of the presidential guards came by to notify me that it was time to leave, and made my way to the leading car in the motorcade. The presidential state car was a jet black Cadilla with flags of Swordland above the front headlights. Next to it, a man was holding the door. Serge Walkner. Hello, Mr. President. I still felt euphoric from the aftermath of my speech. Hearing my new title made me smile even more. If you'll allow me to introduce myself, I'm Serge, your new driver. Nice to meet you, Serge. It's an honour. He respectfully bowed his head before opening the car door and gesturing inside. I entered the car. We will head towards the palace. Again, accents will be as and when. Don't expect any sort of consistency. The motorcade began to move. On the way, Serge proceeded to explain his duties as driver. I don't see why he felt the need to explain the concept of a driver, but he did. As the minutes passed by, I found myself lost in thought again, barely paying attention to what he was saying. He suddenly gestured out the window. Isn't it a beauty, the Maroon Palace? He was right. Sunlight glinted off the palace's many maroon-coloured domes, so bright that I had to look away. Every time I look at it, I'm reminded of my duty to this nation. It's in good hands now. I'm sure of that, Mr. President. The car drove past the majestic gates, continuing uphill to the entrance, and stopped in front of the doors. Serge got out of the car and opened the door for me. Have a great day, Mr. President. I'm a-going to West Corps. He referred to the famous swordish phrase from the times of the Revolution. I'm Morgana West Corps, Vectern Sista, which meant, morning will come, victory is close. I'll return the favour. Vectern Sista. I made my way upstairs through the extravagant corridors of the palace. Marble and engraved wooden finishings decorated the interior. My footsteps echoed in the colossal hall. The guards bowed their heads in respect as I opened the massive doors to my new office. Right, so there's a lot going on. You can see the big vast map here, which has gotten bigger, actually, I think. Yeah, there's a lot more going on since last I played. Republic of Morania, Newest Republic of Doradia, Kingdom of Ryzia, Grand Duchy of Somewhere, Welhen. Okay. The friend. Let's just start clicking on things. Casian Treaty Organization, Superpower Alliance. Open event information. The Casian Treaty Organization, ATO, is a cooperative military alliance that encompasses 14 member nations. Spearheaded by the Arcasis, the organization seeks to establish a cohesive framework for economic coordination and collective defense, aimed predominantly at countering the influence of the CSP. Embracing a roster primarily composed of nations with capitalist economic structures, the ATO acts as a geopolitical bulwark against the global expansionism of socialism, particularly seeking to safeguard the region of Mercopa. It strives to consolidate its members' defense capabilities and facilitates mutual cooperation, forming a united front in the face of external threats. In recent times, the focus of the ATO has shifted towards augmenting nuclear deterrence, as advancements in military technology have rendered nuclear weaponry an integral component of modern warfare. This strategic pivot reflects the ATO's commitment to keeping pace with evolving security challenges and reinforcing the collective defense capabilities of its member states. Okay. Read the report. The ATO advocates for the global human rights amid tensions. In response to growing global tensions, the Caucasian Treaty Organization, an intergovernmental military and economic alliance of 14 countries led primarily by Caucasia, has issued an expansive report examining the state of human rights worldwide. Amid intensifying nuclear developments and efforts to counteract the expanding influence of the Contan Security Pact, the ATO's commitment to championing human rights remains unwavering. The report meticulously identifies regions worldwide where human rights are most endangered, shedding light on areas of concern in multiple continents, including Eastern Macopia, Western Rica, and Southern Contana. Proposed strategies underline the need for actionable collaborative efforts to address these crises, championing an international focus on basic human rights and freedom. As the spectre of potential tensions and proxy wars looms, the reports call for their nations to remember that the fight for universal respect for human dignity transcends political and ideological divisions. Cool. So they're represented on the board now. They were never represented before. This is the international map, and that's the national map. Okay, well, let's go click on all the nations. So, Republic of Whelan, People, Justice, Unity. Member of OMNEC, the Organisation for Mokopian Economic Development, is an intergovernmental economic organisation to stimulate economic progress, increase trade. Alliance of Nations, an international organisation formed by most of the countries on Earth, focused on intergovernmental frameworks. Relations neutral, military weak, population 17 million, GDP world rank 29th. Presidential Republic. Okay, all sounds good there. I like these updates. None of this was here. None of this was available in such a concise way. Congratulations from President Smolak. Sends his congratulations on the election victory and wish for a cooperative future between Will and Swordland, signaling a desire to normalise the diplomatic situation between the two countries. Excellent. Bestie. That's what he's going to be. He's going to be our bestie. Country information. Republic of Lesbia. Relations neutral. Military strong. Population 79 million, GDP 5th. Another parliamentary republic. Member of ATO, the Caucasian Treaty. It's an answer. Yeah, okay. Omnek and AN, so they are also a member of ATO, which is this lot. So that's good to know. Congratulations for Prime Minister Alvarez. Congratulations for the result, and spoke about his hopes to have a beneficial partnership deal in the future. Sends his best wishes to Swedish people. Wonders about the threats of the encroaching Milanivist influence of United Conta from the east, emphasizing the importance of unity in our continent, Macopia. Okay. We got the Republic of Kriut, who is a member of Antication Free Trade Association, the AFTA. AN, Omnek. Friendly. Oh, we're friendly with them, but they're weak. Sounds like somebody's ripe for an invasion. Come on, scroll, you bitch. How do we? Right. Republic of Agnolia. Let's have a look at them. So, member of Omnek. Cheap steel imports. As per the trade agreement between the two companies, Swordle imports Agnolian steel for cheaper than its market value. Excellent. Friendly. Weak military. Yeah. That's fine. Been congratulated on an election, praised our party's stance on just and transparent elections, signalled his wish to continue trade partnership between our countries as equal partners, as opposed to earlier trade deals which he believes gave Switzerland unfair advantages. That's unfortunate. I mean, it makes sense. Democratic Republic of Valgasland. Member of CSP, Canton Security Pact, so they're the communists. Yeah, Socialist Republic, communists. Omnek, member of AN. Neutral, strong. Are you communists? I don't think you are you? No, Parliamentary Republic. Congratulations from Chancellor Hegel. Sends his congratulations on a great victory and wish for a close cooperation between our countries in the future. Signal concessions from Valgasland in case of a promising trade deal. He also congratulates the Swedish democracy for the successful elections and warned us about the threat Arcasia's growing influence poses for East Macopia. So you don't like Arcasia, which is... we don't even know. Oh shit. I don't know what I just clicked on. Is this us? Well, not yet. Kingdom of Rumberg. Fear God and Honour. Unfriendly. Overwhelming military. Constitutional monarchy. Grace. The Guild of Royal Allies for the Commerce Exchange. I like that. The monarchies have gone, nah, sod the lot of you, we're doing our own thing. That's going to get frustrating. And that's the Continental Security Pact. And there's nothing else to be done here. Oh, there's so much potential for DLC in this game as well. But yeah, I think we've spoken to everybody that we need to speak to. Let's go into Swordland. Let's just click off that. So this is our city. Our nation, sorry, split into its various regions. So let's start with Lorraine. City information. USP mayor, governed by a mayor of the United Swordland Party. High level of poverty, lack of healthcare services. So we got religion, ethnicity, population, not bad. Right, okay, that's a nice breakdown. Again, you didn't really get that in the old game. Low production in Angland. The reports called attention to the alarmingly low levels of productivity growth in the region of Angland, where there are also high rates of food insecurity, malnutrition, and rural poverty in the inner parts of the region. Okay, let's have a look at Ivory. USP mayor. Logistical issues. Mayor is reported to be struggling to overcome the significant logistical problems of the city. We've got a mixed religion there and mixed ethnicity, so we've got a lot of immigrants. The mayor of Ivory, lack of adequate infrastructure, seriously undermines the attractiveness of Ivory's investment climate. Foreign investors, particularly from Agnolia, are becoming hesitant to invest in the city. Meanwhile, according to data published by the National Business Council, 90% of the company's total expenditure in Angland is absorbed by logistics costs, while in peer regions the figure is below 10%. Okay, so they want better logistics. Blackhaven, the Gateway. One of the largest trade ports, hubs and commerce. Industrial centre, home to important industries. PFJP mayor, local municipality governed by the mayor from the People's Freedom and Justice Party. You scum. You didn't vote for us. Or you did, but not in frequent enough numbers. Port of Lockhaven loses importance. Maritime traffic reports that the Port of Lockhaven is no longer the busiest of the Mecopian continent, falling behind to third position. While this is a negative indicator for our administration, Lockhaven still has the potential to shine again as a major trade centre. Still the largest port of Swordsland and holds enormous importance for the economy, particularly as the main distribution centre linking the capital and inner parts of Swordsland to the rest of the world. Okay. Hull Sword. So this is the capital city. Yep. USP mayor. Industrial centre. Logistical issues. Mainly Swordish, though we got others people knocking around. Religion's a problem. Well, not a problem, but there's more than one, which tends to lead to problems. And recent update from Holstord, the mayor expressed growing concerns about escalated traffic congestion linked to the city's burgeoning population and rapid urban expansion. The statistical report pinpointed a significant increase in traffic volume and subsequent slowing of transportation routes as the capital's most pressing issues. The mayor stressed that the lack of a comprehensively designed, large-scale, land-based logistics hub, serving as a converging point for all transporters, is exacerbating the issue faced by domestic transporters. Given Holsworth's status as a sprawling metropolis, the current situation, where transporters have established separate centres across 10 different districts, is scattered and inefficient. Right. Now I've got another report to read. General Staff gathers. The General Staff convened right after the election and congratulated on victory. All branches of the Swedish Armed Forces were present in the meeting that took place at Camp Strongholm with massive security measures. The Chief of the Armed Forces, Vulcan Kruger, made a public press statement highlighting the increasing chances of military confrontation in eastern Macopia, requesting support to strengthen the military. Alright, so he wants money. And then we've got briefing on the current economic situation, briefing on the current political situation. Do politics first. So Peter arrived a couple of minutes earlier and sat across from me, struggling to hold back his smile.
We did it, Anton. We won. Finally, the bribery, the backstabbing, it all paid off.
Don't announce that lot. Like, don't audibly say that in the place where the fucking hell, Peter. Peter's eyes sparkled. The strain of the past month had put a damper on his usual rakish charm, but today he was looking and acting more like his old self. He loosened his tie and undid the top 2 buttons of his shirt.
Enjoying the new secretary I picked out for you? Thought you'd appreciate her gorgeous set of talents. It's a shame the rest of your staff aren't as easy on the eyes.
Fucking perv, Peter. He gestured to the slightest paunch that protruded over his waistband. I'm not doing the voice, it's actually hurting my throat, so I'll have to do a normal one. But hey, back in university, did you ever imagine we would be sitting here in Maron Palace? We have to celebrate this great victory. How are we going to celebrate? Yeah, we'll celebrate at the inaugural ball. Just hang here and there until the evening. Looking forward to it. Evelyn hopes to congratulate you in person there. Good to know. It's been some time since I saw her last. I think it was Frank's birthday. We've barely had enough time for our families over these past months, haven't we? Peter had a wistful look in his eyes. He and Evelyn had never been able to have kids of their own. During our campaign, the opposition had floated the rumour that he'd fathered illegitimate children during his wilder years, but it had never been sustained. The door swung open and Lucien Gallard, my chief strategist, walked in. He was a compact man with sharp, bird-like features. After briefly surveying the room from wall to wall, he sat down, poured a glass of water, and opened his briefcase in a series of quick, graceful movements. Gentlemen! There's too many people to do different voices for everybody, but I'll try. The tall case clock in the room struck 3 o'clock. Damn, you're exactly on time! Hello, Peter. Lucian turned down towards me. He very slightly bowed his head. Glad to see you, Lucian. It is a privilege to be here, sir. Lucian spoke in soft, clipped tones and immediately drew your attention towards what he had to say. Peter and I waited for him to proceed. Let's start by evaluating our current situation.
The majority of the Swordish people demand change. They are more concerned about the economy than their constitution, but they blame the system for their problems.
People are losing their trust in democracy? Why do you think radicals like Bernard Sickler are becoming more popular? Everybody's expecting us to bring the change. The last government did not.
Franz Richter, leader of the Reformists, believes that true change can only be accomplished by transferring some of our powers to the Assembly. I will move into the details of their demand shortly.
I agree with the Reformists. Our responsibility is to democratise our broken system, because that's the promise I made at the start of all this. That's exactly what we've campaigned for, a true change that will move the country forward.
We will need many allies against the old guard and the government. Mr. Richter managed to persuade many members of Assembly to give their support for drafting a new constitution. Reformist politicians are quickly increasing in number. While the Reformist wing inside our party is still a minority, they could have a tripartisan majority in the Assembly, especially if they unite under Franz Richter.
Just gonna scratch my ear. USP Reformists aren't wrong to agree that we need change, but we should be in charge. Mr. Richter could be a potential ally in Mr. Richter could be a potential ally in our goals to maintain a majority in the Assembly.
He's definitely key in this.
The Reformist demands are clear. They want to limit the President's veto powers, ensure that the Supreme Court is independent, to take away the Court's right to vote on constitutional amendments. Yeah, I support the Reformists. We need a proper balance of power in this country. I agree. We can't ignore the winds of change after all.
The old guard will do its best to preserve the Constitution. Chief Justice Hawker and his allied judges have a great influence over the Supreme Court, which will be tough to break.
The court also has the final say over constitutional legislation. Without their approval, we cannot even change it. We'll need a comprehensive bill to balance the power structure more fairly. Yep. That's exactly what we'll need. I agree. The old guard wouldn't like this, though.
A comprehensive reform that would make the Reformists happy, which means maintaining a balance between all branches of government, which means removing your absolute veto as well. The Reformists demand that all loopholes in the Constitution are closed.
Yeah, looks like we have many changes ahead. We can figure it out. Our party still has 130 out of 250 seats in the Assembly. We've got the power.
However, to reform the Constitution, we must receive a 2/3 majority in the Grand National Assembly, which is 166 votes, and a simple majority in the Supreme Court, that equates to 6 votes. After we have settled on how to proceed, we will need to take with our party figures. Our first goal must be to get the 150 signatures needed to start the process. Following the green light from the USP, we will reach out to the other party leaders to see if they would back our draft. The last step is to convince the justices of the court. The entire process will take a long time, but we must start working with the Reform Committee to evaluate all possibilities for a new constitution as soon as possible.
President wide range of powers, so I don't know. New constitution. We will democratic constitution with the Reformists. That's what we've been preparing for internally. Don't forget that promise. That is what got us elected.
The key thing here will be strengthening the power of the Assembly, which we already lead with a majority.
Peter nodded in agreement. Yes, the division of power needed to rebalance for a better Swordland. I'm butchering his speech a bit because of the accent, but I'm sticking with it.
According to the initial draft we made with the Reformists, there are 2 changes to the Constitution that are not open for their discussion.
Lucian opens his dossier.
First, the Supreme Court will no longer vote on constitutional amendments. Second, the President's absolute veto will be taken away. This can be replaced with a limited veto system by fixing the current loopholes.
I have no problem with these clauses. Let's work with the Reformists.
Yes, sir.
Lucian nodded.
We will form a reform committee together with all parties and start reaching out to all the stakeholders in the Assembly and the Court for a new constitution. By later in the year, we should have an idea of the reform contents and what the other parties want. Lucian took notes. Another important point, we must be aware of the Lothberg group. The oligarchs convene under this organisation to influence economic policies. Conrad led it for a long time before forming guild. The new leader is Mr. Walter Tusk. According to the reports, some members of the National Business Council are in their back pockets. Tusk and the group will surely try to bribe us in exchange for special economic protections. I will enter a dialogue with them eventually. We need to be diplomatic. Wise approach. It's good to understand and see if we can reach a middle ground. Lucian looked at Peter.
As far as I know, Marcel Controy has some strong ties to this group. His influence could definitely be an asset for us, but I'm sure he'll want something in return.
Interesting. In the group, we should make sure he's on our side. The group is dependent on our economic causes. Can't move a finger. The group's influence is important for us. One that we should use to our administration's advantage. Okay, now we'll use this Mr. Contry, if we know him.
We just need to be careful with him. He looks like the lesser evil, but it could very quickly turn out to be the other way around.
Tread carefully on all sides, with all power players to survive our term. I need to underline the seriousness of the situation. The military and the general staff are a powerful element of the state, and as history tells us, a dangerous one too. We do have some room to make structural changes, by reducing their budget, for example, but it is quite limited. Now, with the Rumberg threat on the horizon, we can't reduce our defence capabilities and anger our general staff. I would advise the same. The budget should be maintained, and we should refrain from confronting the military too directly. Defence Minister Iosif Lancer is more loyal to us compared to General Kruger. A fact that obviously can change with our actions. Either way, I see a potential rift between the two sides since they are clearly of different minds.
If we act strongly against the military, both of those guys will unite against us. I agree with Lucian. We need to tread carefully here.
Lucian looked at his watch. Well then, gentlemen, precisely 30 minutes. This concludes our political briefing for today. Our next meeting will be about our media strategy. Talk to you soon, sir. I will keep in touch.
See you both at the next meeting.
Lucian and Peter bid their farewells and left. A mysterious amount of smoke was rising far away on the horizon. Okay. Narbel, let's have a look at Narbel. USP, good. Organised crime, lack of healthcare, low literary rates, police forces overburdened. Swedish Grid Corporation Field Research Team has announced new gas field discoveries in Narbel. These discoveries could enhance the city's energy supply and play a significant role in the broader energy landscape of Swordland. The analysis of the yield and quality of these fields is currently underway. The corporation will soon release commentary reports outlining extraction feasibility. Implications of these findings, particularly regarding potential growth and job creation in the region, are noteworthy. Good. Lahern. NFP. Oh, National Front. Oh no. The Nature Preservation Foundation in Lahern has organised a march promoting ecological practices in nature preservation and witnessed significant participation, demonstrating the local community's commitment to environmental issues. This peaceful demonstration has successfully raised awareness about Lahern's unique biodiversity and environmental challenges. Local authorities have noted the event and the message conveyed by the foundation. Okay. Codex. Act 1. So there's 4 acts. Oh, news. We've not been doing the news. That could be lit. Fire strikes, hostile university archive. Student broke out. Sudden fire broke out in the archives for reforms. I mean, President Anton Rain, there we go. Office, another great win for the USP. It mentions 37% general vote. National Front Party, which finished 3rd electorate race. Runner-up
vote. PFJ didn't consider until the last minute, but the results were clear. It was very positive. Good. President and Chairman, I guess, on Edwin Fonson announced that he departed from executive group Lothberg Group. So you just get news, which basically Swedish National League starts season. Goes now the excitement. Oh, there's football. Okay. New cabinet begins duty. Yeah, so you just gotta new compare. How many times will people fall for the same trap? We've seen this brief connoisseur supposedly says the country brought stability and have meant life oppression. Yeah, so the radical are always like, unless you go like full on communist socialist, the radical are always going to print shit about you. They claim to offshore gas fields. Maybe the Kingdom of Resources lay claim to the newly discovered offshore gas field near the Grand Duchy of Pales, a small nation. Oh, that's the DLC kingdom. Okay. Duchy of Pales. Rumberg coming south, foreign policy. So geopolitics just lets you know what's going on with people. So just beginning, Rumberg might come and hurt us. Okay, well, that's fine. Don't need my journal. Connections. Just click on that, you get a bit of a history. I mean, it could be useful. All guard the reformists, the oligarchs. Overview, law. Okay, policies. Currently active. Compulsory military service, Swedish general staff, gendarmes under defence. Military interference in politics, outdated military equipment. International security jurisdiction. Oh, internal security jurisdiction. Large reserve pools. Experienced generals. Law. Constitutional amendments. Honorary membership. Immunity of justice. Unlimited terms. Presidential decree. Election threshold 10%. Oh wow, there's a lot. A lot going on in terms of the law. Court backlog. Limited women's rights. The bloodish problem. Judicial rivalry. Some human rights. Freedom of the press. Weak transport, unemployment crisis, tax evasion, decreased trade volume, burgeoning economy plummeting, Lauren Rust Belt, Agdan lacks investment, stagnated production, Grunin barely maintains growth, tourism average. Welfare, policies, Rainer's welfare principles, voluntary vaccination, freedom in curriculum. Good urban institutions, solist education, inconsistent curriculum, inaccessible rural education, low quality. Okay, order, state security privilege, members of the security and Swordland enjoy privileges and benefits that extend beyond those available to the general population. Unique nature. Corruption, illegal immigration, organised crime, dispute with the government. Bergia, zone of Bergia are currently in a legal dispute regarding jurisdiction control. Special laws. Bergia, the Bergian local forces do not fall under the authority of the Ministry of the Interior. AN member, OMEC member, neutral. The Alliance of Nations stands as a beacon of global current ties working through its members. Organisation of Maricopa and Swordland is a member. Neutrality serves the cornerstone in foreign policy, fostering an approach of non-alignment with any power bloc or alliance. By maintaining a neutral stance, Swordland aims to preserve its autonomy, enhancing diplomatic flexibility. Yeah. Rumberg expansion, lack of allies, foreign energy influence, influential OMNEC member, experienced diplomats, balanced energy prices. Okay, so we're not all in the shit. City of Dreyer, Holy Site, Bergia Special Zone. Governor of Bergia from the headquarters of the Special Zone in Dreyer. Homelessness. Oh, we gotta fix that. We can't have the Bergia Special Zone. I mean, look how big Bergia is. Most of the region Swordland homelessness skyrockets in economic recession. The number of homeless city increased by 25%.
particularly stock among the bloodish people, homelessness. Okay, so racism causing homelessness. Police report on HSU fire. Fire broke out in the Academy Administration building at Holston State University. Chief of Police also indicates a near to complete destruction of employee records from 1890 until now. No copies of the internationally recognised academic research destroyed. The extent of the damage is worse than expected. Right, so somebody's really fucked us. Public opinion report. People's views on the need for democratic reform in the government structure has changed over the last decade. Reformist propaganda from the leader of the People's Freedom and Justice Party, Franz Richter, has resulted in a massive increase in the demand for democratic reforms. It's estimated that currently 55% of the population supports the reformist idea. DNA proposed Tourism Act. Grand National Assembly in Holstord is readying the Swordland Tourism and Cultural Preservation Act. This act aims to enhance the cultural and tourism appeal of several cities, including Borin, Ribley, Latchhaven, Anrica, and Benfey, in a collective push to make Swordland a global tourist destination. Interesting. Briefing on the current economic situation in the White Room. Simon Hall, Gus Manager, and Lilius Graff were about to arrive at the White Room for our scheduled economic meeting. In the Maroon Palace, where important meetings were held. Two assistants arrived first, carrying a heavy projector. They stood with it by the door, waiting for the ministers to enter. Take a breath. From the hallway, I heard Lilius Graff's voice. She was using the patient, almost motherly tone she often used in heated arguments. Gus, do you really think such an economically advanced area is more in need of investment than Angland? Lilius, my interior minister, strode in. She was clad in shades of brown and beige, the only spot of colour a bright yellow Destinian cross in her necklace. Gus followed close behind. Don't be an idiot, Lilius. What about the unemployment crisis the Greater Holston and Gelston regions going through? Those are our economic heartland. Gus curled his hands into fists. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development's temper hadn't changed since his days in the Alfonso administration, but neither had his reputation for getting things done. His far-reaching network of connections was unlike any other. Simon Hall quickly stepped between the two ministers without looking at either of them. He cleared his throat.
Good morning, Mr. President.
What is this debate about?
Just a disagreement in internal economic strategy, President Rain.
Not sure I would call it just a disagreement, Lilius.
Enlighten me, Gus.
Miss Graff seeks to focus our economic development in a region where we can't reap the financial benefits. Business leaders are requesting better logistical links in order to contribute to the economy more.
A wise idea, if your main agenda is to make money instead of developing the region and serving the people.
Lilius, elaborate.
Of course, the argument is simple. Angland is our weakest region, both in terms of economic and social support. We should support the city of Ivory and its respected mayor.
How impartial can you really be?
Simon was observing the argument. What are your thoughts, Simon?
You have to say that I agree with both of them. Angland is in need of investment, and we can improve Greater Holstein and Girsland. I want to avoid this topic now since we will talk about it in the future. I would rather first fully brief you on our current economic situation.
Pulled a silk handkerchief out of his pocket and briefly wiped his glasses.
My staff and I have comprehensively analysed every aspect of...
He was interrupted by a groan from one of the assistants by the door, both of whom were now visibly struggling to hold up the heavy projector.
Oh, you could put that there.
He pointed to below the painting of President Salt. The assistants placed the projector next to the table and installed a white screen on the wall.
Leave now. I mean, thank you, and please leave now.
The assistants left the cabinet room. I was reminded that Simon had never quite had a way with people, but his facility with numbers made him the most sought-after economic specialist in Swordland. Simon started looking for his sliders. He always carried documentation around with him. Wait. Linus leaned to the table and spoke.
Simone, what happened to that new police station constructed in Estor?
While going through his briefcase, he paused for a moment to answer.
It got stalled due to government property boundaries issues. I've been meaning to look at it. I can take a look at that one. Estor needed all the security help it could get. Sure. More time for me to spend on analysis.
His eyes glittered when he finally found the sliders he was looking for.
There have been some developments about the Swedish Wrens losing further value today. We've been trying to stabilise it with the central bank.
The recession of 51 put enormous pressure on the economy, resulting in the collapse of the value of our currency. The entire situation was a significant cause of concern for our administration.
What would you like to know about the current economic situation?
Now, what is our GDP and debt situation?
Our current GDP is 310 billion Swedish Ren, and the national debt is 427 billion.
It's still hard to fathom that we lost nearly 150 billion in wealth. The past 3 years were tough. What is our unemployment and inflation rate?
Unemployment has skyrocketed and is now at a staggering 16%, and the inflation is a relatively high 10%. Unemployment is increasing crime and drug use. We need to get people off the streets The inflation isn't helping our average citizen either.
What is the status of the recession?
The economy has been in a recession of about minus 6% in the past year. The average GDP has dropped from SR 1
At 50. I can't do it in the voice. From SR 15,454
per capita to SR 10,359 from 1951 to now. This administration's success depends on our ability to stop the recession. The sooner we can reach GDP growth, the better.
With all the information needed, let's move on to economic strategy. Simon scattered the paper stack in front of him in an orderly manner, took a final look at his notes before clearing his throat.
As you can see, the situation is alarming, but not everything is negative. The extensive privatisation programme of Alfonso, a key foreign direct investment, left us at a large budget surplus, which we can use to stabilise the crisis. The primary subject we need to settle on is what general path we will take in our term. Solonomics-based nationalisation happened in the 30s, and Alfonso's privatisation began during the end of the 40s. What will our administration focus on? One of our main promises was to promote a free market economy to stop the recession. To be frank, I believe it is the only way out of the recession.
I still do not support it. Why promote the private sector when we have qualified state-owned enterprises? Because the lack of competition has made them inefficient. Simon nodded. What are the consequences of the free market?
There are not many, but one could say that we are much more likely to be influenced by the world economy.
It's important to think about this subject because the upswings of the world economy reflect good on ours too.
Yes, and when the global economy crashes, we go down with it. The structural problems of Solonomics were going to lead to a recession according to the predictions at the time anyway. Either way, even if we pick one of the doctrines, we retain the option to make economic choices on a case-by-case basis.
That is, however, not recommended in my point of view. The last thing we need is a chaotic economic plan. Finally, something we could both agree on, Lilius.
There is another important point which has a direct impact on our economy. Superpowers.
We might have won the election, but I'm still against aligning ourselves with any superpower.
Economically speaking, we are much closer to the Arcadian than United Contana, so a decision to align to the west makes more sense.
We must be very cautious. There are schemes being devised about Swordland. We cannot give in to their wants now or in the future, otherwise our country will turn into a pawn. I want you to reconsider your promise to align with Arcadia. No, I've made a promise to the people of Swordland. I won't back down. Exactly, we have made a promise. People want to trust their precedent. What kind of an example would we set for our future generations if we were to back down on our promises? Also, in my opinion, aligning with a powerful country like Arcadia was an excellent decision.
I know you have campaigned for this in the party a long time, Gus.
Oh, wrong voice.
Mr. President, this is exactly what being controlled looks like, voluntarily or involuntarily.
Sighed Lilius with distrust but didn't say anything.
When the time comes, I hope you will make the right decision for our own good.
We should attract more foreign direct investment, Mr. President. We saved the country from a full-on depression in 1952 and 53 by signing lucrative trade deals with nations such as Riza, Lesbia, and Quinal. Simon cleared his throat again.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Minister Wizak will be in charge of informing you on those types of foreign policy decisions. We must first decide our internal economic plan.
Simon put forward a legal document outlining the possibilities with both economic doctrines listed. The cabinet members looked at me. Let's finish what Alfonso started with the capitalist free market reforms. His path was going to enrich Switzerland.
The recession was the direct result of his free market reforms.
History must note that the reason for the recession was because old Alfonso was betrayed by his party.
That is not true. There was plenty of time for him to do that. If you can't make change happen in 2 years, then you are at fault.
Would a free market bring us stronger allies? It would make Arcasia look at our country in a more positive light. They are proponents of the free market economy.
The influential Arcadia has on the world economy is extensive. Our economic strategy should be based on internal reasoning, though.
What's on our long-term economic schedule?
Picking a construction company, trade relations, tax reform, and privatisation initiatives will be some of them. Sticking to a solid planned economy strategy will be the best right call. The 5-year plans were fruitful in the past.
Let's move on to the conclusion.
What are your final thoughts, Mr. President?
Yeah, you should look at opportunities like privatisation to create financial resources.
That is exactly my mentality. There are many possibilities that are waiting, like education or health privatisation. It would be better to promote a market economy for these to have consistency in our plan. So what will our general economic plan promote?
Market.
I can't say I agree with this.
Lilius looks displeased.
Now that there is clarity on which direction we are heading, I will work on a good plan accordingly. This concludes our meeting. At our next gathering, we will talk about the upcoming infrastructure investment plan.
Now that the economic direction was taken, the ministers dispersed for lunch at the Marine Palace. They had one chat and pissed off for lunch. Classic. Classic politicians. News. What's going on in the news? Tourism, a beacon of hope for soiled land. There was no tourism in the earlier version of the game, so that's new. That's good. That's exciting. I like it. I like this game, and I like that they've put more love into it. And the fact that the DLC is just another country somewhere down the way. Like, you know, they basically could do a DLC for every nation in the game if they wanted to. Like, it wouldn't be unfeasible. You could create different situations and, you know, interact. It'd be really cool. And, to be honest, I'm sure they've thought of that. Gaston is set to bolster Soilland's infrastructure to support its ongoing development efforts. Soilland's the largest corporation, Gaston Financial Aid to support equipment. Soilland's economic. This advertisement was sponsored by the Alfonso Foundation, so they've basically sponsored their own ad. Plan behind closed doors, shortly after the meeting, Minister of Economy. Yep. Armadine Industries pioneering electronics. New prototype for their first pocket radio was displayed by Arcasian Electronics Company. Okay, so freezing temperatures required, so it's cold out, right? Once the ditches Lothberg, Simon Discord. He's buggered off. And his Twits has been beaten with baseball bats in a parliamentary style attack. Avaray, the man, claims to have been attacked because of his ethnic background as an Ignore Swordish citizen. Okay, so racist attacks. Borin. Wine demand in Borin. There's been significant surge in demand for local wines. An increase that led to a busy season for the vineyards and wineries across the region. Cause of this rise in demand comes across from international interests, and it is certainly driving economic activity in the city. Wineries are ramping up production to meet their increased demands. Wine equals good. Mornia. Unemployment in Mornia. Changing economic conditions is stunning in its speed, says the Mayor of Mornia. In the aftermath of the crisis of 1951, employment rates in Mornia rose to 9% in the following year. Last 6 months have almost erased all gains in employment over the last 2 decades. Brilliant.
Let's have a look at Lenkunk. Lack of road network, USP mayor. I think we've already spoken to them once. Recent collapse of the tourism industry in Lenkunk has led to a reduction in trade, traffic, and road maintenance. The road network is currently in service but is in need of substantial improvements. Ports, country roads, and bridges similarly suffer from a lack of investment. Firms doing business in Lenkunk reported a significant shortage of warehouse facilities, particularly refrigerated facilities, with implications both for the transportation system and the ability to serve the population's basic food and health needs. People are starving. Got you. Lockhaven, the other place, yeah, the historic port. Sea rigs maintenance. The Gasum sea rig off the coast of Lockhaven has paused oil extraction operations for essential maintenance. The rig has been a significant contributor to Lockhaven's oil output, and its temporary shutdown could impact the city's production levels. The maintenance timeline remains uncertain. Local government is monitoring the situation and making arrangements to ensure minimal disruptions in the city's oil supply. Till then, normal operations remain suspended. I'll do that one because it's there. Gale Sword. Antiquated railway. I mean, the amount of detail, if you really wanted to go into it, like, you know, each region has its own stats, everything has its own stats. I've shown you the list of people. Infrastructure report. The recession led to a reduction in rail assets, with more than a fifth of the railway network, self-antiquated, being mothballed in recent years. While the main lines of the railway network are currently in service, increased demand in goods from Gelsord to the capital is punishing the network to its limits. In the last century, and yeah, okay, so we need to upgrade the rail network. Oh, hello. Oh, is this the world map now? Kingdom of Riza. King Romos Torza of Riza formally extended warm congratulations to President Anton Rain following his electoral success. Official address, he praised Swordsland's thriving democratic ethos and expressed a keen interest in fortifying bilateral ties under the Rain's administration. So that's the DLC nation. But yeah, like they've expanded the map. I mean, look at all this cool stuff. Kingdom of Rumberg. Or the Bastards as they're otherwise known. CSP and Federation of Angrak signed historic NAP. Significant step in international diplomacy. The Kontan Security Pact, an intergovernmental military economic alliance of 9 countries led by United Kontar, signed a 5-year deal, non-aggression pact with the Federation of Angran Isles. CSP's commitment to broadening its influence beyond its home continent of Kontra, to peaceful relations across the globe. CSP's ongoing efforts to peacefully extend its influence across the archipelago. Important return in complex geopolitical landscapes. CSP strengthens its global position to counteract the capitalist influence of the ATO. This agreement signals a commitment to strategic, peaceful expansion rather than sovereignty of nations that lies in the ocean between United Kontra and Arcasia. Oh, is this Contra? I think is this them? These are the communists. Who have obviously they're pushing further and further this way. Yeah, that seems to track. Oh, Sarna, let's have a look. Oh, the Bergian Special Zone. Fucking Bergian Special Zone. That needs to go. Agricultural growth. First time in 3 years, the agricultural output of Sarna has increased. Many experts link the increased output to both a drop in temperatures and a new farming practice that have been adopted in recent years. Okay. Well done, farmers, but fuck you, Bergia. Just have a drink because, funnily enough, reading all this text, it hurts the throat a bit, especially doing the funny voices. Meeting on the media strategy. Let's go. Lucian and Peter arrive at my office to talk about recent developments in media strategy. They both took their seats across from me. Lucian put on his reading glasses and quickly went over some documents. Peter turned to Lucian and nodded. Greetings, gentlemen. I have just received further information from the Interior about the sudden fire that broke out at the Holstein State University. Tell me more. The initial reports from the Holstein police chief indicate a potential arson case.
In accordance with protocol, the Storage Intelligence Directorate has been called.
I can't remember the voice I did for this guy.
Is the SID really necessary for this? Why would anyone hit the archives of a university in the first place? I see no logical motive there.
Fuck me. Too many voices, too many people.
It seems that fuck me. It seems like the chief suspects foreign sabotage. They informed us that a large section of the archives have been destroyed. It includes tens of thousands of globally recognized research documents in original by the great thinkers of our people.
Back to Peter's point. If this was awesome, what could the motive have been?
The fact that the employee records have been destroyed along with the research documents raised further questions. Luckily, most originals have copies in the other universities and some international libraries. The first edition of my favourite book, The Geopolitics of Swordland by Herman Eckwer, was destroyed too.
Maybe it was just a freak accident. We do have the copies of the most important works, so no single fire can eradicate our knowledge. I see no point in destroying employee records either. More importantly, Lucian mentioned that Marcel Conrad contacted him.
The Corontis has always been known as one of the richest and most influential families in Swordland. Marcel Coronti was no exception. He was the older son of the Corath Coronti, the industrialist and media mogul who founded Hoss, the richest man in the entirety of Swordland. Lucian turned to me. He has offered to meet with you, Mr. President.
What does he want?
After the passing of his father, may he rest in peace, Marcel aims to become the next CEO of the Hoss conglomerate. He mentioned a productive collaboration.
They are a powerful and influential media conglomerate. To start with, they own the Swordland Today newspaper, the Storage Broadcasting Corporation, the S.
Which means it would be wise to have them by our side. Sorry for interrupting.
Let's consider our options first. No need to be hasty.
I agree, we need to be careful. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First we need to determine our general approach to media.
I am no media expert, but Lucian makes some very interesting arguments at the preparation meeting yesterday.
There are two ways we can approach the media. One of them is by influencing it, which has clear advantages. The other is keeping it independent.
The media must be independent.
Ideally, yes, but an unpopular leader will not be able to pass even the easiest reforms. It is of utmost importance to maintain public popularity and avoid any damaging scandals or mistakes. I must stress one thing, Mr. President. The more people we have supporting our agenda, the more we can accomplish. With someone on our side and an influential media organisation, we can do this very easily.
I see what you're getting at. I agree with Lucian, but why the assumption there'll be scandals and mistakes?
We can always hope for the best, but do we really think that nothing can go wrong? Especially considering the very recent history of Swordland.
2 knocks were heard on the door. Please, come in. Livia Suno, my new secretary, enters the office. Her dark curls bounced as she crossed the room to my desk. She spoke with a slight lilt in her voice.
Fuck. Excuse me, Mr. President. Mr. Glade's secretary has been calling me and wanting to relay a message. Marcel Contorori, the new CEO of Hoss Conglomerate, is on the line for Mr. Glade.
Well, the ball is in our court now.
Would you like to talk to him, sir, or would you like me to?
I mean, they've been trying to talk to Lucian, so you go ahead, Lucian. It's you that he wants to speak to.
Right away, sir. Connecting the call to line 1.
Lucian picked up the phone and started to listen. A few minutes passed as the two talked over the phone.
Good news indeed. Congratulations. Mr. Contori, thanks you for contacting me about this. We will talk later.
Lucian put the phone down.
What was so important that it could not wait?
He was just elected CEO by the board of directors. He offered a partnership dealing regarding his media branch. He is inviting us to his resort near Contrari for a meeting.
The board has decided rather quickly.
It seems that gave him the confidence to approach us again.
He is going to offer a real deal, and now he has the power of the conglomerate too. The choice is up to you, Mr. President. I can set up the meeting soon.
Set up the meeting.
I'll set things up right away. Expect a worthwhile meeting next month.
It's settled then. Looking forward to next month. I wonder if he has a pool.
Lucian looked at his watch.
It appears we're done for today. We will continue when we left off later. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, good work with Marcel. Keep it up. Lucian and Peter nodded before gathering the documents and leaving my office. We were already getting the attention of key figures and potentially dangerous ones. Right, how long have I been going for? Because my throat is hurting a bit. Oh, it's not that long. Oh no. The Republic of Crete. Tiny island. Friendly, weak, parliamentary republic. Coolsies. So this is approval of Swedish democracy. The Republic of Crete congratulates President Anton Rein on his recent election of victory in Swordland. Chancellor Enos stalls Swordland's democratic process and the peaceful transition of power, emphasizing shared values. Crete expressed positive outlooks to continue collaborations and mutual growth with Swordland. Business. I don't want to spend too much time looking at all these things. Low fluctuation in energy prices. Some of these things just change naturally, you know, the issues we have to deal with. Some of them just go away. Are these all national? Is there nothing international? I don't know. Read the energy report. Valgan Dam, a critical energy resource for Soiland, has been experiencing a reduction in its energy output due to its age. The dam's aging infrastructure is proving less efficient, but its ability to maintain previous levels of energy generation. This decree could impact the region's energy supply if not addressed promptly. Plans for refurbishment or modernisation of the dam could be proposed in the future if necessary. We do want to look into that whenever possible. Rubble Bay, PFJP Mayor. Tourism destination though. Alright then. With its rich historical sites, unique culture and natural beauty is untapped tourism potential. However, the city lacks the necessary infrastructure and promotional activities to a fully fledged tourist destination. Local officials are actually seeking further support to develop Ripley's tourism sector. Any strategic plan for Ripley's development will require a focus on infrastructure and promotion of its attractions. Right, so Lackhaven invested mega infrastructure. One of two planned mega infrastructures. Okay. And what's the other one? Whole sword. Oh, campaign finances bill. Sid joins. Further investigation by police departments reveal a potential arson case with no identified subject yet. Police chief of Holsor has voiced concerns about suspected sabotage by a foreign nation. A Swedish intelligence directorate investigating. Okay. Party committee report. The Reform Committee reports that any potential change to the constitution in the direction of the reformists will likely result in strong opposition from the National Front Party. Members of Assembly and supporters of such direction seem to be in great numbers and possibly make up a majority of the Grand National Assembly. Most members of the United Swordland Party seem reluctant about supporting such changes, so our own party is against us. Alright. Invest in mega infrastructure. The Ministry of Economics has put forward two bold plans for mega infrastructure projects that would help the economic recession in the long term. Investing in projects of this scale will take up some portion of our budget but could prove worthwhile if accomplished successfully. Invest in a mega infrastructure project, -1 government budget. Is that this? Oh no. Oh, we got loads! Do I not get to pick which one? Maybe that's later on. Campaign Finances Bill. The CFB bill has been passed by the GNA. What the fuck are the GNA? Total Campaign Finance Bill. Section 1 of this bill stipulates significant change in the methodology of public funds allocated to political systems. Previous system based on number of votes won in the general election with system reliant on proportional seats. Sets the end of financial allocation of political parties at $500,000 per each member of assembly. This shift ensures that financial support from public funds aligns more closely with the party's representatives' influence within the legislative body. So, consequently affecting amendments will effectively lead to a substantial increase in the election budget for the USP. My argumentation for other parties. Okay. Section 5. Section 4 highlights an important consequence of this reelection. So do not meet 10% election threshold will see their public funding effectively curtailed. This means that measure ensures that public resources are concentrated towards parties with significant representation in the assembly. Sign. Oh dear. International funding bill passed by the government has resulted in significant change in the way parties are funding. Under the new law, public election funding is only provided to parties that have secured seats in the assembly. Once it didn't enter this contrast funding of the USP, but the party. Okay, so we just did something slightly undemocratic there, but we're not. Remember, we're capitalists. Our aim is to make money and secure our power. We're a rich kid who wants to stay rich, so that bill aligns with our values. Discussion of potential infrastructure. The view towards the Marquesian Sea from Lockhaven was nothing short of exquisite. Seaside state residence, fittingly named the Blue Mansion, was large, fine, and accommodating. Fuck, I've got to do all the voices again. But enjoying the luxurious mansion wasn't the main reason for our visit. We gathered the economic team here to discuss new infrastructure investment projects. Half an hour had already passed since the start of the meeting. Fortunately, I did not even have the chance to have my usual afternoon coffee. Looking at the view from the windows, I let my mind drift for a couple of seconds. Someone's voice brought me back into the ongoing discussion. Oh no.
Mr. President, we need to focus on boosting the economy as quickly as possible. One of the fastest ways to achieve this is through infrastructure projects.
Agreed.
On the one hand, businessmen are complaining about the slow logistical rail network between Holstord and Lockhaven.
They start talking as soon as...
On the other hand, citizens are criticising the lack of proper highway connections between Lockhaven and Overy. The narrow road by the seaside are not only dangerous but also difficult to traverse.
We need to pick the most profitable option for the economic growth, which is obviously connecting our two most economically powerful cities.
It's not business people who are suffering now, but ordinary folk. What really matters is that your first economic act accomplishes something tangible.
We must improve the economy of the nation and bring it out of recession.
To that point, I define two important projects for your attention. The H3 Highway Project and the L1 High Speed Railway Project.
So I'll recinch himself on his chair.
The Ministry can only support one project at a time with our current capacity and budget. Let's move on to the details of each.
I mean, it only cost me one to set up one, so I think we can afford another one, Sol, but...
So which one do you want to hear about first?
Tell me about the H3 Highway Project.
The H3 project aims to improve the abysmal state of the road network in the Agraman region bordering Agnolia. The area is home to several million Agno-Swordish and Swordish who are currently feeling neglected. There are no proper highway connections to and from Angland. The Mayor of Ivory has been asking for a bigger budget to develop the regional infrastructure. He told us that even trucks are having a hard time travelling through the main roads. The increased traffic is causing trouble for people commuting in and out of the region.
We can't leave the request of a party member unanswered.
I know him personally and can vouch that he is a trustworthy member of our party. Let's take a more detailed look at the upgrade proposal.
Look at the map. Lockhaven. The H3 highway route starts here in Lockhaven. So here, yeah.
And from there it leads to Lengurk.
So that's that one here.
From there it goes all the way to Ivory.
So we're going to build a highway from there to there. Okay.
As a result, the road network towards the Agnolian capital Stallport will also improve substantially.
She paused and leaned forward in her chair.
As mayor, I saw central government As mayor, I saw the central governing continuously neglect our country's Anglo-Swordish dominant regions. Is this administration going to continue that kind of negligence?
Which is no longer like a key region for our trade with Agnolia.
Sure, but most goods flow to Lackhaven and Holstord, which means we should give more importance to logistics there.
It has to be pointed out that the highway would be less beneficial in the short term.
I have to disagree. It will increase the speed of transportation throughout the region. Our citizens will be quite pleased if we successfully accomplish this. Besides, if we enter trade talks with Agnolia, they will see the investment as a positive sign. Very interesting, but I do want to hear about the railway project.
Your predecessor, Alfonso, failed to deliver on this campaign promise, but now we have the opportunity to start the construction of a groundbreaking railway project. As you know, our current trains cannot meet the standards of today, as many other countries adopt new electrical engine technology to power up their trains. We're falling behind.
News about the new electrical trains in United Contra has piqued our business's interest. They too want to transport resources and materials from Holstord to Lackhaven with great speed and efficiency.
Yeah. The superpowers have led the way with their high quality tech. We've got to keep up. I don't know.
Only technological advancement will give us an edge in the international arena.
Our plan is to upgrade the old L1 line from Holthord to Lackhaven. It will transform into a high-speed railway.
Look at the map. This is pointing at Holthord. So, Holthord there.
The planned construction starts right here at the capital. From there it will go to
Anrica first, which is... Where's the fuck is Anrica? It must be that. But yeah, we can see the rail network there.
And then connect to Galesford,
Yep, there.
after which it will reach Lackhaven, our economic powerhouse. The L1 will significantly boost the economies of the newly linked cities and even the rural areas in between. Lackhaven is our primary port, so the goods unloaded there will be transported to Holstord much faster.
Yep. We should link the rural areas in the middle with the major city. We're talking about the wealthiest regions, forgetting about Angland, which needs the investment far more.
The mayor of Anrica, Curtis Less, also requested this project to be prioritised.
Businessmen in the region will be very content, which in turn will increase investment and employment. Therefore, I will recommend the L1 high-speed rail project. Excellent. What will your final choice be, Mr. President?
Yep. The high-speed rail network.
That's the right choice, Mr. President.
The negotiations will begin in the middle of this year. You'll be able to award the contract to a corporation of your choice. The Ministry estimates the construction will be completed in 2 years if every step going forward is executed successfully.
Good. Is there anything else?
This should be all, Mr. President.
See you soon, Mr. Rain.
Have a nice day, Mr. President.
Evening settled on the beautiful coastline of Lackhaven. I'm gonna have another drink, because Christ alive does that do my voice in. I'll go for a bit longer. I'm gonna go grab some dinner. Under construction. News, let's have a look at the news. Conrad Curtis, we already know he's dead. Suspicious fire, more about the fire, that's fine. Highest freeze amid economic strange. Its largest corporations announced a freeze on new hires. Okay, that's not good. USP hijacks election. The first ones in the Inferno of our elector, yeah. So they hate that we're having a glamorous ball because we're like there's a recession and we're having a party, and they hate that I've signed a bill that secures my party's power between governments and intensifies. Calland and Valskaland. Take me there. To the word map. So that's Valsk land. These two, right. So they are going to invade them. That's unfortunate. Fuck me. Right. Invest in Arcadian company stocks. An opportunity to buy stocks from an Arcadian. My personal investment opportunity have been relayed by Mr. Manga, an experienced stockbroker in Venture City, Arcadia, selling valuable shares made Armadine Industries, an up-and-coming electronics manufacturing company. We can invest or let the opportunity pass. What's our personal wealth? 3. Yeah, we want to keep a bit of personal wealth. Okay, reception at the inaugural ball. So yeah, I've done all this in economics before I've even done my proper, inaugural ball. Why is this taking it out of me more than Total War? All I'm doing is reading. I just finished buttoning up my suit jacket when the doorbell rang. The presidential guard had arrived to pick up for the inaugural ball. The ball was a 3-decade-old tradition, breathlessly anticipated by politicians, bureaucrats, and the press. All eyes were about to be on me. I called on Monica to get the children ready. Looking in the mirror, I straightened my tie and took a deep breath. After tonight, there would be no turning back. Suddenly, Diana hugged me from behind, startling me a little. Monica had fixed her hair into an elaborate braid, woven through with ribbons. Papa! Mama told me it's time to go. Hello, darling, I'm ready. Where is your brother? I think Frank is still upstairs. She shrugged. It's almost time to leave. The big ball will start in less than an hour. Yeah, don't be a dick. Darling Frank, it's time. Monica came down the stairs. She was wearing a simple yet elegant beige sheath dress, short heels. Her hair had been neatly pinned into a chignon, showing off the pearl earrings I had given her for our 15th anniversary. All those years she had stayed by my side. Now we were about to begin the most challenging chapter in our lives yet. How do you do, Mr. President? Kiss her hand. Monica, my love, you're as gorgeous as the day we were married. Oh, it's always nice to just drop a compliment. Now there's that charm that got you elected. Frank trudged down the stairs. This thing itches. Frank trudged the collar of his new tuxedo. He seemed ill at ease. Are you good to go, Frank? Yes, the sooner we go, the sooner it'll be over, right? Papa, are these people going to be around us from now on? She pointed at the presidential guards at the front door of the house. Yes. It's alright, baby. They're here to make sure nothing bad happens to your papa, or his family. Monica held Diana's hand. Together, flanked by guards, we walked out the door. Halfway to the car, Frank stopped abruptly and turns towards me. Dad, don't I really have to go? Couldn't I stay at home instead? So, don't make me angry, Frank. But no. I'm nervous myself, Frank, but I feel a lot more confident with my swing on my side. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily in line with the rich, but I always do this. Sooner or later, I start picking options that I might pick rather than the character I'm trying to play. What would the rich capitalist boy say? It's a party thrown for me. Don't you want to support your father? A party for squares? Who will I even talk to? Come on, Frank. We've been through this. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Just wanted to try my luck. Got that over with, Frank? Let's go. The car is waiting for us. Presidential guard shows the way as red and blue lights flash around us. Serge, my driver, ushered us into our armoured limousine. The motorcade started moving towards the palace. I gazed out the window, deep in thought. Anton, what are you thinking about? It's like we've come a long way together, haven't we? Yes, we have. And there's still so much that we'll accomplish side by side. Just remember, no matter what happens, the children and I will always be here for you. I'm going to help Papa fix everything. Frank rolled his eyes. I know you will, honey. This means a great deal to me. To what seemed like just a few minutes, the convoy slowed to a halt. Serge rolled down the limousine soundproof partition.
I can't remember what voice I did for Serge. Were you, sir? Hope you enjoyed the drive. Much appreciated. How are you today, Serge? I'm just as good as I can be, but today's your day, sir. I'm glad you're in charge now. You know, my entire family voted for you. Yeah, thank them for their support. No reason to thank me, sir. You're the one who sparked a glimmer of hope in us all. Serge opened the door for me. The normally imposing palace was festooned with garnished banners that nearly made it look cheerful. A line of shiny luxury sedans stretched out around it. Politicians, bureaucrats, and celebrities, the creme de la creme of the Swordsman's elite, streamed inside the building. Good look out there, Mr. President. I'll see you on the trip home, Serge. I stepped out and immediately found myself surrounded by loud voices and camera flashes, hordes of eager journalists thrusting their portable microphones my way. My guards fended most of them off, but one woman managed to dodge them and cornered me. I recognised the Swedish Broadcasting Company logo on her press lanyard. Mr. President! Mr. President! I've given her a lisp. Do you plan on working together with the opposition parties on the expected constitutional reforms? Tonight is for celebration. I'm not going to talk about my policies now. Does that mean you don't plan on working together? Do you think you share no common ground with the other parties? I didn't say that. One more question. One of your first acts as president was to sign a campaign financial law allocating public election funds by seats in the assembly as opposed to the number of votes. This is a deliberate attempt to defund the Communist Party and the Blundia Workers' Party, neither of which have reached the electoral threshold. I've had it with your questions. That's enough, ma'am, said one of my guards while nudging the reporter away from me. A path through the crowd was now open, and we quickly made our way to the entrance of the palace. At the same time, a dozen fireworks went off. The entrance was decorated with beautiful ribbons in Sutherland's colours of white, yellow, and maroon. A lush maroon carpet had been rolled down the stairs. We entered the lobby and joined the throngs of people making their way towards the ballroom. Behind me, I heard a familiar voice. Oh, Christ. There they are, the most beautiful family in Swordsland. Uncle Peter! Hi, Uncle Peter. It's great to see you. You two are growing faster than I am getting wiser. There you go on, have a bit of banter with your mate. Are you sure you've gotten any wiser, Peter? Maybe not, after all, I'm sticking with you. Happy to see familiar faces. Peter, Evelyn. Peter's wife, Evelyn, approached us and shook our hands with a firmness that belied her delicate features. Congratulations, Anton. I have to say, the results were clear to me from the beginning. Thank you, we both worked hard to make it happen. We know you did. You deserve the position. And tonight we reap the rewards. I hope you will show the same enthusiasm on the job. Of course I will. You know me. I'll work as hard as I play. He gave a short smile that looked halfway genuine. He seemed uncomfortable. Monica, how are you? You've barely said a word. I'm more than relieved to have this roller coaster ride over with, but of course now the real work begins. Ah yes, managing the help, planning parties, daily trips to the salon to look your best for foreign dignitaries. Don't be so old-fashioned, Evelyn. I plan to use my power as First Lady to advance the position of women throughout Swordland. Equal rights for our sex are long overdue, wouldn't you say, Anton? Absolutely, and we'll work together to achieve that. Monica flashed me a smile. Deanie suddenly jumped up between us and tugged on my sleeve. Papa, can we go? I want to see the ballroom. Of course, darling. Let's not delay any longer. Moved to the ballroom, left the lobby and made our way towards the ballroom. Inside, we were yet again surrounded by a noisy crowd, but this time it was the politicians who sought to appease the new authority in Sutherland. I spent the next few hours shaking hands, joining various conversations, some serious, some superficial, and making speeches. We finally settled down at our dinner table with Vexens as the band started playing some slow jazz tunes. Oof, that was tiring. Wait. Yeah. What, you're tired already? Well. Suddenly a loud banging noise echoed from outside the ballroom, and then another one, and another. The musicians stopped playing, everyone in the room was looking around in confusion. Peter and I turned towards each other, realization dawning on both our faces. Fireworks? No! Gunshots! As soon as Monica heard the word, she lunged from her seat. Shield Monica and the kids. Threw myself on Monica, Deanie, and Frank to shield them. Papa, what's happening? Frank, I knew it! We never should have gone! Chaos broke out as some guests flung themselves under their tables and others ran towards the door, screaming. Deanie burst into tears while Frank tried to comfort her, hiding the fear in his own eyes. 3 more gunshots rang out loudly. Carl Grisa, Chief of Police. Mr. President, are you alright? Carl Grisa, head of the Swedish police force, was running towards us with 3 more police officers in decorated uniforms. They all had their guns drawn. As soon as he made it out to us and saw we were unharmed, he let out a big sigh of relief. Thank God! What the hell is going on? That seems like a rich kid response. 1 second, Mr. President. He turned around quickly to his men. Check the perimeter, now! Paul, Jensen, follow my lead. We'll bring them to the safe room. He now turned to Monica, Evelyn and the children and spoke in a softer voice. Do not worry, the situation is now under control. Please follow me. We promptly followed Carl through the winding halls and corridors of the palace. His men still had their guns drawn, which did nothing to ease attention. On the way, Peter made an attempt to break the silence. What a fucking night! It's not over yet. Carl turned to us with a serious face as we were about to round the corner. Quiet, please. Sorry, I talk when I get nervous. Peter, shut up! Carl flipped a switch on the wall and a panel opened, revealing a hidden staircase leading to a large reinforced door. Inside, a sector of emergency lighting flickered on. The safe room was comfortable and spacious with expensive-looking leather sofas. Small security monitors on the wall displayed a grainy footage of each room in the palace. There was a boardroom and pantry containing enough provisions to last us months. Monica and Evelyn sat the children down and started wiping their tears. Carl stepped away from us and made a few radio calls. When he was done, he turned to me and Peter. So tell me, Carl, do I have clouds for a security force? That is a rich kid response, to be fair. As I raised my voice, he lowered his head in respect. No, sir. Then tell me how this circus show happened in my ball. The room went quiet. Peter seemed like he was about to say something, but with one look from me, he stopped. I am sorry, sir. I will personally conduct the investigation into our past security force once we figure out what is going on. I can assure you I will be relentless in dealing with incompetence. You better, for your sake. Status update. Deanie started crying again because of my yelling. As you command, sir. Carl's radio suddenly cracked alive. Every second felt like an eternity as he pressed his ear to the receiver. When it fell silent, he turned to us. Good news. We are not in any danger at the moment. The situation has been dealt with and the perimeter has been secured by the guards and the police. He glanced towards Monica, Evelyn and the kids. If I may, sir. He gestured towards a more private corner of the room and started speaking more quietly. This is what we know so far. We have confirmed that 2 people were gunned down in front of the palace. The attacker is one of them, and we have reason to believe he was working alone. He fired 3 shots at an MP, 1 to the head, 2 to the body, instantly killing him. Presidential guard at the palace immediately shot and killed the attacker. He has not been identified yet and will require an investigation. The MP that was killed was identified as Bernard Circus. This is you, Janton. This will cause a lot of problems. A lot of problems. Peter pulled out 2 cigarettes and handed me one. Then turned to Evelyn. I could hear him trying to assure her that everything was going to be alright. Monica was still trying to tend to Deanie as Frank paced the room, mumbling that he should have stayed at home. Comfort Monica and the kids. Nothing like this will ever happen again, I'll make sure of it. We can't be sure of anything anymore, Anton. I lit my cigarette and took a deep drag. I was going to see this through and keep my family safe, at all costs. I crushed the cigarette on the ashtray. No, shit hit the fan. Okay. Spokesman in the... Oh, wow. Okay. Leader of the SP Performance Wing, leader of the NFP, PPP... So you're new. Or is he not the one that was shot? MP shot. Today, member of Parliament shot. Sirens there. Such a violent act happened in the heart of the capital. President regards celebration. Were made citizen. Red Youth reported promised revenge. President Rain shuts down the call for cooperation for Friends Rector of the day. He chose not values it. Well, bollocks to that. Maybe we do need to limit the freedom of the press if they're going to put, you know, our projected economic growth is shocking. That's all fine. What time are we running now? Because my throat is getting sore. Yeah. So it's 2 o'clock. In England it's 2 o'clock anyway. We just had a dramatic shootout at the inaugural ball. I think that's enough for today. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If not, I don't know what I can do about that. See you on the next one.